Hello and welcome to the Jax State Sports Network Streamcast. Tonight's presentation is available on YouTube in audio-only format or from a link at the Jax State Sports Network webpage. Thank you for listening and cheering on the Gamecocks. Now to the venue and your host for today's action.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Pete Matthews Coliseum, home of Jax State women's basketball this afternoon as the Gamecocks check in with a 7-6 overall record, 1-1 in Conference USA play. They play host to the first place team in the Conference USA standings, the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders, 11-5 overall and 3-0 in Conference USA play. Glad to have you along this afternoon. My name is Donnie Smith. Exciting day for women's basketball here inside the Pete. Middle Tennessee has won 3 in a row after a 2-3 month of December. They've bounced back from a relatively difficult non-conference schedule. Jax State had a 3-game win streak ended on Thursday at the hands of a very talented Western Kentucky team. We'll talk with Rick Petrie coming up during our pregame show a little bit later. Felt the team played pretty well defensively except for just a couple of lapses late in the contest, gave up a couple of three-pointers that ended up being the difference in the contest. Jax State women's basketball is brought to you by JSU alumnus Congressman Mike Rogers. F&M Bank, serving Calhoun County since 1915. Tri-Green Equipment, tried and true, 75 years in the John Deere business. Alabama Power, by AmFirst, by McDonald's of Jacksonville and Piedmont, by State Farm agent Mike Douglas, and by Chick-fil-A of Jacksonville. Coming up next on the Countdown to Tip-Off show, we'll dig into today's matchup, take a look around Conference USA, and chat with head coach Rick Petrie. That's all coming up next here on the Countdown to Tip-Off show, presented by JSU alumnus Congressman Mike Rogers.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Before we spend some time with Coach Rick Petrie, we'll take a look at some of the AmFirst numbers of the game. Free throw shooting could be a key in today's contest. Middle Tennessee, 74.7% at the line. Jax State sitting at 63.3%. Both teams very good defensively. Middle Tennessee allowing 56 points per game. Jax State at 56.2. Both teams in the top 40 nationally, with Middle Tennessee 34th in that category and Jax State at 36. Field goal percent defense, both teams again very good. 9th nationally for Middle Tennessee at 34.3%. Jax State holding teams at 36.2%, ranking 28th. And both teams very good at defending the three-point line as well. 28.4% by the Middle Tennessee opponents, 23.4% by the Jax State opponents. That ranks 6th nationally. They are going to need that today against Middle Tennessee, which is 30% from beyond the arc and has a very good three-point shooter in Jalen Gregory, who connected on 8 threes, the best of her life, against Jax State in this game last year in this building on January the 24th. She is just 5 3-pointers away from becoming the program leader. Meanwhile, keep an eye on Maya Barnes for Jax State, had 15 and 8 against Kennesaw State. Brianna Rhodes had a season-high 19 in the contest against Kennesaw State. We'll step aside for another 2-minute timeout. We'll spend some time with head coach Rick Petrie when we come back after this brief moment.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Jax State women's basketball coach Rick Petrie joining us on the.
We didn't sign her till very late, and so it was really too late to make the arrangements to get her here, so she missed all of summer. And so it's really set her back because there's a lot of work she didn't get in the summer, that she could have used in terms of understanding how we do things, particularly on the defensive end. And then offensively also understanding what we're doing too. So and understanding the difference in terms of the speed and size and quickness of our game versus the NAIA game. So because she was highly successful at the NAIA level. So she has begun to figure it out. And so that she's earned the expanded role that she's got.
Conference basketball, obviously things look a little different. Teams are going to scout you a little bit more, scheme you a little bit differently. You've got a pretty experienced group. Has that kind of helped everybody understand what's at stake and how difficult each night's going to be?
Yeah, I think our approach has, as a team, the way we've approached the previous two games has been the right way to approach them. And I think it's because now that we're in the second year of this league, last year was fresh. We didn't know what we were basically, engaging in. But now we're in the second year of this league. There's familiarity. 3 of middle starters, our returning players know extremely well, and so and have a familiarity of how they go about things. Because most of us as coaches, there are exceptions, don't radically change what we're doing. It does happen, but most of us don't, and so as a result, there's a level of familiarity with what the other team's doing, which is helpful, but also is a challenge because then they're the same. They know the same thing about you too. So but our kids get it. Our returning kids get it, and obviously that helps the newcomers understand the urgency.
Seems like that's the kind of team you're playing today with Coach Insel. It is what it is. What you see is what you get. I think when you turn on the tape, the size is probably the first thing that catches your attention and how they use it at both ends, whether it be the pick and roll on offense and obviously one of the nation's best shot blockers on defense.
No doubt, and she's a kid who's going to be drafted in the WNBA draft, and so and when you say that, that's more impressive than being drafted in the NBA draft because the NBA has 30 teams and the WNBA has now a 13th team. So you're talking about to say that a kid's going to be drafted, and I expect that she will be. That shows you. I mean, she's at the top level of who. And let me tell you something. There are a lot of people there are a lot of power programs who would love to have her in their program right now. So she is an elite level player. She this year her numbers aren't as gaudy this year, partially because the 2 players they lost were both outside threats. Their point guard and their 4 player were both outside threats. Their current point guard and 4 player aren't the same threat from the outside. They're good players, but their strengths are different. And so the floor isn't quite as spread for Boulder Raven as it was before. And so, but what that means is, Gregory's been really good and Talia Scott's been really, really good for them. So, and those 2 players were really, really good last year. So, look, that's 3 consensus all-conference players right there returning. Coach Insel does a great job. He runs a great system on both ends. Plus, he is able to get his kids at a level of mental toughness that honestly very few coaches that I've experienced because of the fact that his starters play most of the game. They hardly come out. They'll come out for foul trouble, but otherwise they're in the whole time. And no matter what the circumstances, it doesn't matter what the score is. I've seen it over the years because first time I coached against him was in South Alabama in 2006. And so his first year at middle was 05-06, and we were in the Sun Belt together at that time. And so, he's able to get his kids, instead of as the game goes on wearing down, they almost get stronger, and it's truly unique, and that's why he's had the level of success that he's had.
Walk us through the keys. How do you slow down their offense when you're on defense? How do you get the ball through the net when you're on offense?
Defensively, we've got to make it as hard for Boulder Raven as we possibly can because she is a focal point of what they do. I mean, she's 6'7". They listed her as 6'6" last year, so I guess she grew. But 6'7" female, for people who don't understand, that's the equivalent like a 7'3" guy. I mean, that's a huge human. So, and she's really skilled. So do the best we can to make it challenging for her, but also containing Scott and Gregory, containing Gregory at the arc, containing Scott both at the arc and on the drive. So that's what we have to do defensively. And offensively, we've got to find a way to spread it out and try to get to the rim. Boulder Rave, of course, has a lot to say about that. She hangs around the rim, and she's really tall. But then once we get an open perimeter look, we've got to be able to make a decent number.
Awesome. Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rick Petrie joining us on our pregame show. Head coach interview is presented by F&M Bank, serving Calhoun County since 1915. Moments away from tip-off here at the Pete Matthews Coliseum as 7-6 Jax State takes on 11-5 Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee riding a 32-game win streak against Conference USA opponents, the longest streak in Conference USA history. They've played a very difficult schedule this season. They are the only team in Conference USA that does not have a non-Division I opponent on its regular season schedule. They did play 2 exhibition games against NAI opponents in Tennessee Southern, which they won 104-66, and then in a Battle of the Blue Raiders, they beat Lindsey Wilson 71-32. Those games taking place back in October. Went 6-2 during the month of November. Went through a little bit of a lull in December, going 2-3. However, those 3 losses at Belmont, Kansas State, and Princeton, and have gone 3-0 here in the 2025 portion of their schedule. Meanwhile, for Jax State, they started off hot after a tough loss at Arizona State, rattled off 4 consecutive victories, then suffered 4 consecutive setbacks, came back with 3 consecutive victories, which a streak of that was just ended on Thursday with a 51-44 loss to Western Kentucky. Let's take a look at the starting lineups, which are presented by Tried and True. Our company's legacy is 75 years in the John Deere business in Alabama. Try Green Equipment. For Middle Tennessee State, under the direction of 20th-year head coach Rick Insell, they will start with Courtney Blakely, number 1, a 5'8 senior from Gary, Indiana, who averages close to 10 points and 2.5 rebounds per game and leads the team in assists, averaging 4 per contest. Number 2, Anastasia Boldareva, a 6'7 senior from Moscow, who we'll talk about a lot. 14.3 points, 9.1 rebounds per game, and is 8th nationally in block shots at 2.6 per contest. Number 10, Jalen Gregory, a 5'8 senior from Lafayette, Tennessee, 2nd leading scorer at 14.5 points per game, 3.7 rebounds per game, and is an 89% free throw shooter. Number 15, Tamia Scott, a 6-foot junior from Clarksville, Tennessee, team's leading scorer at 15 a game, 6.3 rebounds per contest as well, and was a second-team All-Conference USA honoree last year, coming off a double-double on Thursday at Kennesaw State. And number 21, Elina Arike, a 6'2 fifth-year player from Helsinki, Finland, 7 points, 5 rebounds per contest, and was the 2023 Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year. Rick Insell is 474 and 161 in his 20th season on the Blue Raider bench. Went 775 and 148 at Shelbyville Central High School before going to Middle Tennessee. He won a mere 10 state championships. Assisted by his son Matt Insell, the former head coach at Ole Miss, Kim Bruton, Nina Davis, who was a phenomenal basketball player at Baylor, Tom Hodges, the former head coach at Morehead State, and Courtney Whitson. Taking a look at the starting lineup for Jax State, they will go with a 5'10 senior from Atlanta, Georgia, number 2, Shaquise May, averages 3.5 points, 2 rebounds per contest. Number 3, Samaya Steele, a 5'8 junior from Meridianville, Alabama, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2.5 assists per contest. Number 10, Brianna Rhodes, a 6-foot senior from Montgomery, Alabama, the team's leading scorer at 9.7 points, 5.2 rebounds per game, and 1.3 assists per contest. Number 22, Maya Barnes, a 6-foot senior from Montgomery, Alabama, averaging 7.5 points and a team best 5.5 rebounds per game. And finally, number 71, Maria Sanchez Ponce, a 5'10 junior from Spain, who averages 5 points, 2 rebounds per game. Has come on strong a little bit, as we talked about with Rick Petrie, who in his 12th season is 408 and 340 and 188 and 173 during his time at Jax State. assisted by Destiny Thomas, Kayvon Towns, and Eric Wise. So there you have our starting lineups brought to you by Tri-Green Equipment. Jax State wearing the home white uniforms with the red and black accents. The stacked red Jax State across the front of the uniform. And they will work from left to right from our vantage point in this first half of play. Conversely, Middle Tennessee State wearing the all-black uniforms with the blue accents. The white Middle Tennessee across the front with the white numbers. A little bit of a mismatch jumping here at center court, as going into the circle for Jax State is 6-foot senior Brianna Rhodes against 6'7" senior Anastasia Boldareva. Middle Tennessee from right to left from where we stand. Basketball into the air. Boldareva controls it into the mat court to Courtney Blakely, who sets the Blue Raider offense. Blakely quickly off the screen by Alina Arike. They go back inside to Arike, who's tied up. Cut to the basket, mishandled by Tamia Scott, and scooped up in the backcourt by Jax State's Shaquise May. So the Gamecocks able to force a turnover on the game's first possession, and now Samaya Steele sets the offense with Brianna Rhodes at the top of the key. Rhodes gives up the dribble, hands it off to Maya Barnes, and a foul called against Alina Arike in the half court, trying to fight through the screen. A difficult matchup for Jax State. Arike, a 6'2" fifth-year player, and Anastasia Boldareva at 6'7". Boldareva, one of the nation's best shot blockers. That was the player that Coach Petrie talked about in the pregame show as being a WNBA draft pick. Jax State in the half court, 30 seconds gone here in the first quarter. Maria Sanchez-Ponce trying to drive. She's knocked to the deck. Loose basketball is tied up by Jalen Gregory. Alternating possession arrow will keep the Gamecocks with the basketball. 9:24 to play, 11 to shoot. Inbounding is Samaya Steele. Steele gets the basketball from the official. Looking left, looking top of the key. Goes to the right wing. Little give and go, getting it back from Brianna Rhodes. Rise and fire triple from the wing doesn't go by Steele. And the defensive board pulled down by Alina Arike of Middle Tennessee State. Courtney Blakely working the right side will back out and goes to Boldareva at the top of the key. They like to run the pick and roll as Gregory gets it and goes to Arike instead on the left wing. On the drive goes Tamia Scott. Up off balance jumper. Draws a foul. Believe they signaled to Shaquise May. That's her first, and the first of the game against Jax State. Middle Tennessee very good at the free throw line as a group, 75% as a team. Tamia Scott, one of the players that you can get away with fouling if you get into that situation potentially, but she drains the first. Scott, the team's leading scorer at 15 a game, shoots about 67% at the charity stripe. Earns second team All-Conference USA honors and is good on both free throws. So Middle Tennessee off to a 2-0 advantage. Jax State seen a little bit of all-court pressure. Sanchez-Ponce misdribbles it in the backcourt. It's poked over the end line, and possession will stay with Jax State. Kennesaw State pressed quite a bit. Western Kentucky pressed after every make. And certainly Rick Insel saw some of the challenges that presented Jax State, and they go with a little bit of press here as well. And they call over and back against Jax State. I don't believe that Samaya Steele had established herself in the front court yet when she had got the ball at midcourt. There was only 22 left on the shot clock and just 2 allowed to get the ball across midcourt. So now each team has turned it over once, 8:52 remaining in the first quarter. Middle Tennessee with the ball up 2-0. Courtney Blakely setting the offense one-on-one against Samaya Steele. Rise and fire three by Jalen Gregory comes up short. Rebound pulled down by Brianna Rhodes of Jax State. Now it's Steele matched up one-on-one against Blakely. Top of the key for Brianna Rhodes. She pivots and hands off to Maya Barnes. Barnes on the attack, kicks into the corner for Maria Sanchez-Ponce. Sanchez-Ponce to the rim. The layup is good right in the face of Alina Arike. Sanchez-Ponce ties the game at 2 with 8:17 remaining in the first. Courtney Blakely off the high screen and then lost it, and it's scooped up by Samaya Steele. They were trying to go to Boldareva on the pick and roll. Here's Steele at the top of the key, getting it handed off to her by Maya Barnes. Steele backs out, 20 to shoot, 8 to play. Steele now dribbles to the left wing, backs out in front of Coach Rick Insel of Middle Tennessee State. Good cut to the basket. Steele unable to hang on to it, and the Gamecocks have turned it over. 7:51 to play in the opening quarter. We're knotted at 2. Inbound pass comes in to Courtney Blakely, who signals the play as she crosses midcourt. Again, they've got the screen from Boldareva. She cuts to the basket, and instead they go to the high post to Enrique. She gets it to Boldareva and then back to her, and a 3-second call against Boldareva. So both teams struggling to maintain possession of the basketball here in the first 2:20, and we are tied at 2. So far, this game is kind of going to plan on the defensive end, at least for Rick Petrie. Keep this a low-scoring game and frustrate Middle Tennessee's offense a little bit. Ball into the corner for Jax State. Brianna Rhodes, long jumper, doesn't connect. Elena Enrique pulling down the defensive board for Middle Tennessee. Backing out is Jalen Gregory, looking to the top of the key to Courtney Blakely, the former Indiana All-Star who spent last season at Arizona after playing 2 years at Middle Tennessee. And a foul away from the basketball. I think they're going to get Maya Barnes as she's trying to jockey for position against the 6'7 senior Boldareva. Barnes to the bench. Into the game for Jax State is number 14, Valentina Saric, a 6'2 redshirt sophomore from Los Altos, California, who averages about 7 a game. Misdribbled by Tamia Scott. She goes to the top of the key and swings it right side to Courtney Blakely. 13 to shoot. Scott to the rim. Layup good. Nice feed on the play from the right wing by Blakely, and Middle Tennessee is back on top 4-2. They show all court pressure and drop off of it. Valentina Saric, left wing, rotates to the Gamecock logo in the middle of the floor, trying to use the screen and hands off to Samaya Steele. 6:42 left in the first. Jax State down 2, pass deflected, and it ends up in the hands of Jalen Gregory of MTSU. Gregory at the free throw line finds herself wide open for the jumper. It rattled out. Boldareva's putback doesn't go, but she was fouled. Gamecocks have done a nice job limiting her touches on offense, but they have fouled her with Brianna Rhodes. First against Rhodes, second against the Gamecocks. Shaquise May to the bench. Eden Sample, a 5'10 redshirt junior from Sewanee, Georgia, number 1 into the game. Averages about 4.5 points per game. Also, Samaya Steele checks out. And into the game is Elsie Harris, a 5'5 redshirt senior from Mobile. 4 points per game, and the team's leader in assists per contest at 2.6. Boldareva connects on both free throws, where she's about 70% this season. All court pressure applied by Rick Insel, who's up by 4. 6.5 to go in the first quarter. Good bounce pass by Harris to get the ball across the timeline, but then getting her pocket picked is Sample. Back the other way, Blakely, her layup too strong off the glass, and Elsie Harris pulls down the rebound. In transition, here's Valentina Saric now in the half court on the right wing. Harris backs out, resets the offense with 20 to shoot. Ball goes off the toes of Tamia Scott and into the backcourt. Jax State will inbound from the sideline and get the shot clock back to 20. Maria Sanchez Ponce to inbound, just to our right. 6:06 to play in the first. The pass comes into Brianna Rhodes. Rhodes attacking the basket and has her pocket pick trying to go to the rim. Again, that is a tough strategy going against this Middle Tennessee State defense with the height advantage that they have. Coach Petrie talked about trying to establish the outside shot a little bit and force the 5-player, the center, as Boldareva's turnaround jumper in the lane doesn't go, and the defensive rebound pulled down by Eden Sample of Jax State. Trying to establish that outside shot to pull those bigs away from the basket. Jax State with the ball down by 4. 5:33 remaining in the opening quarter. Valentina Saric working against Elena Enrique. Pair of 6'2 players. Step back triple doesn't go by Saric. Easy rebound for Tamia Scott of MTSU. Scott stops on the right wing, thought about the triple, goes to the top of the key to Courtney Blakely. Inside to Boldareva, trying to bowl her way past Brianna Rhodes, and they call Rhodes for the foul. With the success Middle Tennessee has had as a team at the free throw line and the amount of fouls Jax State has been called for, they may go to that quite a bit. Rick Petrie going to have to juggle his bench a little bit, which has been very successful. We're one of the top 15 scoring benches in the NCAA. Trying to keep players out of foul trouble. Asia Barclay into the game here, replacing Brianna Rhodes, who has just picked up the foul. And that is the second against Rhodes. 6-2, Boldareva missed the front end. The second free throw finds its way home. Boulder-Rava with 3, all at the charity stripe. 7-2 Middle Tennessee State, 5:10 remaining in the opening quarter. From right to left go the Gamecocks against some token backcourt pressure, and they do not break the timeline. Sarich was tied up at center court and was unable to make the extra pass in time. Turnover number 6 in the first 5 minutes of the contest. Courtney Blakely between the circles for MTSU off to our left. Go to the high post to Alina Arike. Now back to the right side of Blakely. She directs traffic, has a screen from Boulder-Rava, works to her left. Dribbles with the left hand, finds a wide open Arike in the left corner. Her triple dies on the back of the rim, and then a foul on the loose basketball. Call it on the floor against Middle Tennessee State. Maybe. I think Middle Tennessee thought they were shooting. Jax State thinks they have the basketball. And it is a foul against Sarich. So that is already foul number 5 against Jax State in the first 5 minutes and 16 seconds of the contest. Timeout on the floor. 4:44 remaining in the first. It's Middle Tennessee 7, Jax State 2. We're back after this brief timeout.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you. I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopRex.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Pete Matthews Coliseum, where Middle Tennessee State has a 7-2 lead over Jax State in our women's basketball contest. Again, you look at some of the numbers and you think Jax State right there, holding Middle Tennessee to just 1 of 6 from the field and 0 of 2 from three-point land. Blue Raiders have made up for it by going 5 of 6 at the free throw line. Meanwhile, Jax State struggling on offense here in the early going with 6 turnovers in the first 5 minutes and 16 seconds. They only have 4 shots and are 1 of 4 from the field thus far. And at the free throw line is Anastasia Boulder-Rava, who converts her 4th in 5 attempts. All 4 of her points coming at the charity stripe. And 6 of Middle Tennessee's 8 at the charity stripe. Boulder-Rava good again. By the way, that was the 5th team foul against Jax State. So Middle Tennessee in double bonus for the balance of this first quarter. Elsie Harris from the left wing for Jax State. Harris tied up at the elbow, goes back out to Asia Barclay at the left elbow. Barclay trying to weave her way through. There's shot block number 1 by Boulder-Rava, who averages about 3 a game. Courtney Blakely back the other way for the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee. 7-point advantage for MTSU. Blakely at the top of the key, looks to the left wing for Tamia Scott. Scott rotates to the right side, now to Jalen Gregory at the top of the key, looking to Blakely on the wing with 6 to shoot. Blakely elects not to use the Bouldereva screen, cross-courts it to Enrique. Wide open right wing three by Scott is good at the horn. 12-2 in favor of Middle Tennessee State. Good discipline by Rick Insel's team to patiently work the ball around and get the best shot. Eden Sample to the right side to Maria Sanchez-Ponce. Hands it back off to Sample on the right wing. 15 to shoot. Matched up against Jalen Gregory. Sample tries to split the defenders, finds Sanchez-Ponce in the right corner. She goes on the dribble, and a foul called on the floor. Think they're going to get Alina Enrique for the foul, 6'2", fifth-year player from Helsinki. That's her first and the team's second. Shot clock goes back to 10. A rare substitution taking place here for MTSU. Savannah Davis, number 14, a 5'10 freshman from McKenzie, Tennessee, a 2-time Miss Basketball winner in Tennessee, getting into the game over Alina Enrique. Shaquise May working the right side off the screen. May goes to the rim, goes the layup off the side of the backboard. Rebound collected by Jalen Gregory. Blakely tries to accelerate to the rim in transition. Her layup falls off side iron. Rebound pulled down by Jax State sub Kiera Thornsberry, and she was fouled in the backcourt by Blakely. First against Blakely, third against Middle Tennessee. Inbounding for Jax State is Valentina Saric to Eden Sample, joined on the floor by Shaquise May, Kiera Thornsberry, and Asia Barclay as the Gamecocks have turned it over again. Blakely with the layup and a timeout taken by Jax State. A 30-second timeout used by Rick Petrie, and it comes with 3:05 remaining in the first quarter. And the Blue Raiders up 14-2. They have scored the last 12 points of this contest. Gamecocks haven't scored in 5 minutes and 19 seconds. They have had 6 turnovers in that span and have missed each of their last 4 shots. Started just 1 of 6 from the field. They have only 3 less field goal attempts. However, Middle Tennessee is already 7 of 8 at the free throw line. 3:05 remaining in the first quarter. And the Blue Raiders with a 12-point advantage here early on. Let's take a look around the Alabama scoreboard, the Alabama Power scoreboard while we have a moment. It's Western Kentucky with 2 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in Kennesaw. They lead the Owls 65-59. Florida International has rallied back to take a 46-41 lead over Sam Houston with 6 minutes to go. Under 3 minutes to play in the quarter. Jax State able to break the timeline with time to spare. Eden Sample attacking the rim, jump pass left wing to Asia Barclay. She drives baseline up and under the defense. Bouldereva still able to affect the shot as the layup doesn't go, but somehow the Gamecock get it back as Sample set to the deck and fouled by Blakely. Another substitute coming up from Middle Tennessee, Jada Harrison, a 5'8 redshirt freshman from Martin, Tennessee, a 4-star recruit coming into the contest. And a break for Courtney Blakely, I believe. 2:42 remaining in the first. It's Jax State ball as they try and end a 12-0 run by the Blue Raiders and end a nearly 6-minute scoring drought. Kiera Thornsberry receives the inbound between the circles. Matched up against Jada Harrison. Thornsberry rotates right side. Tried to use the Barclay screen. And an infraction whistled against Harrison. And that was the 5th foul called against Middle Tennessee. So double bonus for the Gamecocks for the final 2:32 of the first as they try and cut into this 12-point deficit. Kiera Thornsberry's free throw is good. Freshman from Pikeville, Kentucky. Is now 6 of 9 at the charity stripe this season. Thornsberry's second rattles its way home. Ends a 6-minute scoring drought by Jax State. They've cut the deficit to 10. Ball at the top of the key to Tamia Scott, now to the left side for Jalen Gregory. Unable to use the screen. Here's Boulder Raven lane, turnaround jumper. Couldn't get it to go. Had a huge mismatch as she was working against the 5'8 guard Thornsberry. And the ball rolls out of bounds to Jax State. Middle Tennessee just 3 of 10 from the field to start this contest. Boulder Raven yet to score on her 2 field goal attempts, but has made up for it by going 5 of 6 at the charity stripe. From the right side, it's Maya Barnes for Jax State. She tries to attack Tamia Scott. Up and under. Scott gets the block shot this time. Boulder Raven the rebound, her 4th of the quarter. 1:50 remaining in the first. Running the point is Jada Harrison. Harrison gives up the dribble, looks to Scott at the top of the key, dribbles once, looks to the left wing. Jalen Gregory from 24 off the front of the rim. No. Rebound out of bounds to Jax State. Jalen Gregory last year when these two teams played in this building was successful on a career-best 8 3-pointers. She's 5 made 3-pointers away from becoming the program's all-time leader in threes made. Currently sitting at 296 career threes. 85 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Middle Tennessee State leading by 10. Jax State with the basketball. Thornsberry's layup is swatted away by Boulder Raven, who's already closing in on her season average in block shots. Tamia Scott, left wing triple, left it short. Rebound collected by Maya Barnes of Jax State. Barnes ahead to Kiara Thornsberry. Final minute of the first quarter. Thornsberry to the top of the key to Asia Barclay. Barclay pivots. Faces up against Boulder Raven and now hands off to Maya Barnes. Barnes pivots. Barclay left elbow jumper. Rims no. Rebound collected by Savannah Davis of MTSU. Here's Gregory, open left wing triple. All of a sudden it's swatted by Eden Sample. She came out of nowhere and deflected the ball into the corner. Gamecocks back the other way. Thornsberry on the wing. Thornsberry has the screen from Barclay, elects not to use it, goes back to her left. Spin move, ball deflected loose. Now she passes to Barclay. Shaquise May on the drive. High-low, they go back to the right side. Sample a triple. Her shot doesn't go. Rebound picked up by Jada Harrison of Middle Tennessee. Shot clock is off for the final 10 seconds of the first quarter. Here's Tamia Scott. Scott drives the lane. Left-handed layup, too strong off the glass. Kiara Thornsberry the rebound. 2 seconds and 1. Half-court jumper, wave it off. She might have traveled anyways. So after 10 minutes of play, it's Middle Tennessee with a 14-4 lead over Jax State. We're back with the second quarter after this brief timeout here on the Gamecocks Sports Network.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Start of the second quarter here at the Pete Matthews Coliseum. Glad to have you along for today's women's basketball game between Jax State and Middle Tennessee State. The visiting Blue Raiders off to a 14-4 lead after 10 minutes of play. Middle Tennessee's had some first half shooting woes a little bit the last two nights. They shot just 2 of 17 in the second quarter at Kennesaw the other day. Ended up finishing that game 40% thanks to some great shooting in the second half. They start the game 3 of 14, 21% from the field. It's not often where you shoot 21% in a quarter and have a double-digit lead. However, Jax State has turned the ball over 7 times and has made just one of their first 11 shots from the field, shooting 9%. So Middle Tennessee right now enjoying a 14-4 advantage after 10 minutes of play. Those are some of the AmFirst numbers of the game after 10 minutes of play. Today's coverage also fueled by McDonald's of Jacksonville and Piedmont, local owners serving the local community. This is Jax State women's basketball on the Gamecocks Sports Network. It is Middle Tennessee basketball to start the second quarter of play. Courtney Blakely on the floor along with Alina Arike. Tamia Scott, Alina Arike, Boldareva, and Jalen Gregory. And Boldareva tossing some elbows, draws the offensive foul. Boldareva picks up her first, the team's first of the second quarter. Jax State answering with Maya Barnes, Eden Sample, Shaquise May, Kiera Thornsberry, and Maya Barnes. Here's Brianna Rhodes from the right elbow. Her jumper doesn't go. Rebound yanked away by Tamia Scott of Middle Tennessee. Pass to the near wing for Jalen Gregory. She streaks to the basket, missed the bunny. There was nobody within 20 feet of her. Rebound collected by Jax State. So the shooting woes continue for Middle Tennessee. Pass by May is swatted back into her possession. And now the ball out of bounds, staying with Jax State. Both teams shooting today as cold as the temperatures outdoors. Middle Tennessee 20%, Jax State 8%. Brianna Rhodes sets the screen, hands it off to Kiera Thornsberry. Back to Rhodes, off balance left-handed jumper comes up short, easy rebound for Anastasia Boldareva, the 6'7" senior from Moscow. A minute gone here in the second quarter. 10-point lead for Middle Tennessee State with the basketball. It's Tamia Scott rotating to the top of the key on the dribble, facing Shaquise May. Jalen Gregory to Alina Arike. To the right side, the triple by Blakely won't go. Rebound pulled down by Maya Barnes of Jax State. Barnes feeds Shaquise May. Her triple too strong. Easy rebound for Anastasia Boldareva, who already has 6 in the first half. Scott, pull-up 12-footer off the front of the rim. Rebound kept alive by Blakely. What a great hustle play as she gets the ball to Alina Arike. Shot clock resets at 20. Scott gets it back from Blakely on the left wing. Down to 7 to shoot. Blakely from the right wing against Thornsberry with 5. Off the Boldareva screen. She steps back, goes to the right side to Gregory, and a shot clock violation against Middle Tennessee. So the Blue Raiders have turned it over for the 6th time. Second of the quarter. Maria Sanchez-Ponce back into the Jax State lineup, along with Samaya Steele. Kiera Thornsberry checks out, as does Shaquise May. Steele one-on-one against Blakely across midcourt. 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Jax State trailing by 10. Sanchez-Ponce on the drive. That shot was partially altered by Boldareva. They call it off of her. She does not agree. Actually, the reason she does not agree is because they called her for a foul. That I would also not agree with. And now Sanchez-Ponce to the free throw line shooting 2. Try and cut into a 10-point deficit, and does with the first made free throw. Maria Sanchez-Ponce in her first 7 games at Jax State had 20 total points. She scored 31 in her last 3 and has started now back-to-back games for Jax State, and she's good on both free throws. So the former Reinhardt Eagle makes it an 8-point deficit with a pair of made free throws. Courtney Blakely across the timeline for Middle Tennessee, working right to left in the all-black uniforms. Alina Arike plays a little high-low. She gets it back from Boldareva. Thought about the triple, now puts the ball on the deck. and draws the foul against Maya Barnes. So the infraction against Barnes is her second, the team's second of the second quarter. As now Valentina Saric returns to Rick Petrie's lineup, replacing Barnes. Into the middle Tennessee State lineup is number 22, Jada Granum, a 6'3 redshirt senior from Mississauga, Ontario. Of the reserves, she has played the most in every game. Not an expansive stat line, though, as Alina Arike knocks down the first free throw. 85.7% at the charity stripe. She is 31 of 36 this season and is the 2023 Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year. A rare miss at the charity stripe on the second. Samaya Steele back the other way for Jax State in a 15-6 contest, and now the Gamecocks have turned it over for the 8th time. Loose basketball right in front of us, and possession will stay with the Blue Raiders. Jalen Gregory to inbound with 7:25 to play in the second. Her team up by 9. Inbound pass comes into Courtney Blakely, and we might have had a clock issue as the official is now sending the players to their benches, as the officials will gather and chat about what they saw on the game clock and shot clock. 15-6 our score here in the second quarter, 7:27 remaining. And we will go to a officials review, and I believe that will also become our media timeout. 7:22 left in the second. Middle Tennessee by 9. We're back after this brief timeout.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Pete Matthews Coliseum. The officials came over for an explanation. They have a foul on the floor that they're trying to double check. I think they had Saric with a foul, but there might be a double foul. And now the officials have come over to look at the TV feed. 7:22 remaining in the second quarter. Middle Tennessee State has a 15-6 lead over Jax State. Our coverage is brought to you by McDonald's of Jacksonville and Piedmont, local owners serving the local community. This is Jax State women's basketball on the Gamecock Sports Network. We'll also take a moment to look around the Conference USA Alabama Power scoreboard. Final seconds in Miami, and Florida International has a 10-point advantage over Sam Houston. They're about to move to 3-1 in Conference USA play. Liberty up 48-31 on La Tech with 7 minutes to go in the third. And coming up later today, It is UTEP at New Mexico State. We have one final from earlier today. Western Kentucky is a 10-point winner over Kennesaw State, 72-62. So the officials still continuing to discuss. We'll take a look at some top 25 scores from around the nation in Big Ten play. 25th ranked Michigan up 57-29 on Purdue with 8:23 to play in the third. Maryland in a little bit of a fight at the Kohl Center. The 8th ranked Terrapins up 34-32 on the Badgers with 3:43 remaining in the second. Other top 25 action coming up later today. 7th ranked UConn visits Georgetown. 12th ranked Kansas State on the road in Provo to take on BYU. And 11th ranked TCU will travel to Texas Tech. So we have a foul against Maria Sanchez-Ponce, which starts this. Then they have an intentional foul called. Couldn't hear for sure, but I think it was Boldareva, number 2. So they will shoot the 2 free throws, and then it will be Jax State ball. So now the officials giving the table crew the explanation. We may have a revision. Hang on. Okay, so the intentional foul has been updated to number 10, Jalen Gregory. So Sanchez-Ponce, we have confirmation, was called for the personal. The intentional was then called against Gregory. So it will be 2 shots for Jax State, and then it will be Jax State ball. Subject to change. Shooting for Jax State is Samaya Steele. She's 73.7% at the line this season. Big opportunity here for Jax State to try and cut into this 9-point deficit with 7:22 remaining in the quarter. And they leave the front end of the free throw short. That was the stat that we mentioned at the top of the show, was a big advantage for MTSU. Blue Raiders 74% at the line, Jax State 63%, and they miss them both. Today, Middle Tennessee is 8 out of 10 already at the free throw line for 80%. Those were the first 2 misses of the day for JSU. They are 4 of 6 at 67%. Sanchez-Ponce, who started this whole sequence, inbounds it at midcourt to Samaya Steele. She comes off the Saric screen. She's right into a double team, hands back off to Valentina with 7:07 remaining in the quarter. Pass deflected, kept alive by Sample, but then scooped up by Elena Enrique, who then her pass is stolen away by Samaya Steele. Steele from the right wing. Steele trying to pivot and work around a Brianna Rhodes screen. Rhodes from the right corner, hands back off to Steele. 15 to shoot, 6:46 to play. Steele up against the end line. Hands it off to Rhodes. Rhodes to Saric. Rhodes driving the right side. Shot off the glass. No. Offensive board by Ponce. Back out. The three-pointer by Sample won't go. Again, they crash the offensive glass. But Steele was tied up. Possession arrow, Jax State. And actually, they're going to have a foul against Granum. So they will keep the arrow. 20 on the shot clock, 6:29 on the game clock. Not sure if that was called on the box out as we take a look at the replay, or if it was called after the fact. Samaya Steele to inbound. Steele looks, throws to the top of the key to Maria Sanchez-Ponce. Matched up against Jalen Gregory. Sanchez-Ponce tries her on the left side. Lost the handle on the dribble with 10. Now looks to Brianna Rhodes. Rhodes pulls up from the free throw line and knocks it down. Second made field goal of the game for Jax State in 17 attempts. 7-point game. Middle Tennessee with the lead and the basketball. Elena Enrique handing it off to Courtney Blakely, who looks to the near side for Tamia Scott. Back to the top of the key for Enrique. On the drive goes Scott, off the back of the rim on the layup, no, and then an offensive foul coming up against Scott on the putback. Tamia Scott called for her first and the team's fourth of the second. Or rather, that's going to be the fifth. So Jax State in double bonus for the final 5:49 of the second. We'll see if Rick Petrie elects to attack the rim a little bit more here in the latter part of this period. Big screen at midcourt, and they're going to get Brianna Rhodes for the offensive foul, despite a couple of stomps from Rick Petrie on the other side. Coach Petrie wanted the block for fighting through the screen, and he didn't get it. Looked like Rhodes was set in plenty of time. She absolutely was, if we take a look at the video board in the arena. So the big thing there is that foul going against Rhodes. That is already her third. And then Middle Tennessee able to take advantage of the takeaway by Boldareva, who's successful on her first field goal of the game. Boldareva with 7 and 6 here in the first half, as the lead is back to 9 with 5:15 to go in the second. Valentina Saric in the half court. Saric trying to drive, and Alina Enrique able to D up and get the block. .5:11 to go. Gamecocks to inbound with Samaya Steele. Steele throws it into the backcourt where it's run down by Valentina Saric. 9 to shoot. Saric across midcourt with 7. Saric, 5, hands it off to Ponce with 2. Ponce to the rim. At the buzzer, she scores! Maria Sanchez Ponce able to get it to go. Sanchez Ponce with 6 to lead the Gamecocks. 17-10, Middle Tennessee with the lead and the ball. Enrique for 3, doesn't get it to go. Rebound heading towards the bench. It's scooped up by Blakely of Middle Tennessee. Long triple by Jalen Gregory is nothing but net. Jalen Gregory now 4 3-pointers away from becoming the program's all-time leader. That comes at a big time as it pushes the advantage back to double figures. 4:20 remaining in the second, 20-10 in favor of the Blue Raiders. On the attack goes Samaya Steele. Steele rolls it top of the key to Asia Barclay. Sanchez Ponce, a little miscommunication there as the basketball goes into the Middle Tennessee bench, and it belongs to the Blue Raiders. 11 turnovers in the first half, and a 30-second timeout used by Jax State. 4:07 to play in the second. Middle Tennessee State 20, Jax State 10. Back with the balance of this quarter after this brief timeout.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
10-point lead for Middle Tennessee State. The play of the game so far, Jax State had the deficit down to 7. They were called for an illegal screen at midcourt, questionable at best, and all of a sudden it's Middle Tennessee back to a 10-point lead coming out of the Jax State timeout. 3:51 left. Jumper from the top of the key by Blakely goes awry, and the rebound pulled away by Asia Barclay of Jax State. Maria Sanchez Ponce down the left side of the floor, trying to hand it off to Samaya Steele. Steele backs out, matched up against Blakely. Saric Now working against Alina Arique. 10 to shoot. Saric kicks it into the corner for Sanchez Ponce. Sanchez Ponce with 5 and gets tied up on the floor. I think they're going to get Jalen Gregory. That'll be her second. It is against Jalen Gregory. So 2 against Gregory. The team is over the limit. Maria Sanchez Ponce to the free throw line. Sanchez Ponce 2 of 2 at the line today. Jax State as a team is 4 out of 6. Crucial opportunity here for the Gamecocks to try and get back into this game, and the first one bounced 3 times on the heel of the iron and falls off. One more coming up for the junior from Spain. Spent last 2 seasons at NAI Reinhardt and is good on the second toss. Maya Barnes in, Valentina Saric out. Maya Barnes playing with 2 fouls. Brianna Rhodes, we've probably seen the last of her in the first half. She has 3 fouls. That's a big loss for Rick Petrie's club. Open look from the right wing for 3 by Courtney Blakely. Couldn't get the kind bounce. And then a foul called likely against Anastasia Boldareva. Incorrect. I think they're going to get Asia Barclay of Jax State instead. Substitution, Blakely out of the Middle Tennessee lineup. Savannah Davis back in. 2-time TSSAA tournament MVP. How about this? A state record 17 made 3-pointers in a game during her senior year. Here's Boldareva going to work in the lane. She converts the layup. Boldareva with 9 and 6 in the first half. Her team leads by 11 with 2:52 remaining in the second quarter. Ball to the high post for Asia Barclay on the right wing. Looking back to the top of the key. Steal for 3. Hard off the heel of the rim. Boldareva an easy board for MTSU. In transition is Jalen Gregory. Kicks to the right side. 3-pointer rolls off the hands of Davis and off the back of the rim. Rebound to Samaya Steele of Jax State. Steele to Barclay at the top of the key. Her jumper is nothing but the bottom of the net. Asia Barclay's first basket of the game makes it 22-13. Middle Tennessee with the lead and the ball. Gregory's pass nearly intercepted. Tamia Scott from the left wing. Scott gives up the dribble, hounded by Eden Sample. Now Gregory from the right wing as she runs the point with Blakely on the bench. Gregory's triple doesn't go, and then an over the back called against Boldareva for her third. She knew it as soon as the whistle sounded. And again, Middle Tennessee over the limit, but on the offensive foul, no free throws. Or rather, we do have free throws coming here. So Boldareva going to the bench, and we'll have a 2-minute head start on halftime. Jada Granum back into the lineup, a 6'3 senior from Mississauga, Ontario. Free throws coming up for Asia Barclay, where she's 12 out of 21 at the charity stripe this season. Barclay's first rolls in. 22-14, 8-point lead for the visiting Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee State. Barclay dribbles 3 times, spins the ball in her hand, right-handed free throw, finds its way home. 4 in the game for Barclay. Jax State has cut the deficit to 7 once again. It's been as many as 12, thanks to a 12-0 first quarter run. The issue for Jax State is similar to one that's developing for Middle Tennessee, is the fouls. That is 5 against Jax State, and it puts Tamia Scott at the free throw line where she's 67% and converts the first. That's already 11 free throw attempts in the game for Middle Tennessee State. They've made 9 of them. Second free throw finds its way in as well. Jax State has shot 10 free throws. They've made 7 of them. So both teams getting to the free throw line. In the backcourt, it's Samaya Steele breaking the timeline at the final tick of the 10-second call. Eden Sample's pass finds Barclay at the left elbow. She rises and fires. Ball hits hard off the heel of the rim, and the rebound is tracked down by Tamia Scott of Middle Tennessee State. 85 seconds left until halftime. Ball to the top of the key for the veteran guard, Jalen Gregory. Team's second leading scorer at 14.5 per game. Gregory with 3 today on just 1 of 7 shooting. Matched up against Maya Barnes. Here's Elena Enrique's jumper from the left elbow doesn't go. Coming out of nowhere to get the O-board is Savannah Davis. And the 5'10 freshman is able to convert the second chance opportunity. Back to a 9-point lead from Middle Tennessee State at 26-15. Final minute of the quarter. Barclay frustrated in the post. She had nowhere to go and now feeds it to Sample. Eden attacks the basket, kicks over to left wing, and it is turnover number 11 of the first half. Ball rolled out of bounds with 42 6/10 remaining in the second quarter. Inbounding from Middle Tennessee State is Savannah Davis to Jalen Gregory, joining the floor by Jada Granum, Elena Enrique, and Tamia Scott. 33 seconds left. Here's Enrique handing off to Scott on the left wing. Scott has the screen from Granum, elects not to use it, now does, but the Gamecocks switch on it well, ends up in a double team. And the process of forcing up the shot, I believe they got Asia Barclay for the foul. Barclay picks up her second. That is the 6th against the Gamecocks in the quarter. Valentina Saric replacing Barclay for the final 24 4/10. At the free throw line is Tamia Scott. Again, 67% this season. Does not look like a 67% free throw shooter as that ball cleanly makes its way through the net. Scott, first player in the game into double figures with 10 and is now 6 of 6 at the free throw line. She has 11 to lead everybody. 13-point lead is the biggest of the game. 17 remaining in the quarter. Pass too tall for Saric, right into the hands of Granum. Jalen Gregory in transition and is fouled. 9 seconds remaining and 2 more charity tosses coming up for the Blue Raiders. And they put Jalen Gregory at the line where she's a mere 89.4% this season. Jalen Gregory is 33rd nationally in free throw percentage. She has missed 5 in 13 games. Correction, in 16 games. Gregory's first. You're not going to find a better fundamental free throw shot than that. The ball did not make any contact with the rim. It was cleanly through the net, and it is identical the second time through. 30-15, Middle Tennessee has doubled up Jax State. Gregory to the bench after calmly knocking down a pair of free throws. Final 7 seconds. Samaya Steele across midcourt. Steele to the rim is swatted by Tamia Scott. That is block shot number 4 today by Middle Tennessee State. 1.8 seconds remaining. Jax State inbounds to the top of the key to Maya Barnes. Catch and release for 3, in and out. We have reached the intermission. And it is Middle Tennessee with a 30-15 lead over Jax State. The teams will head to the locker room. We will take a timeout and come back with our halftime show, which is presented by Chick-fil-A of Jacksonville. You're listening to Jax State Women's Basketball on the Gamecocks Sports Network.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hello, and welcome to the Jax State Sports Network Streamcast. Tonight's presentation is available on YouTube in audio-only format or from a link at the Jax State Sports Network webpage. Thank you for listening and cheering on the Gamecocks. Now to the venue and your host for today's action.
Halftime at the Pete Matthews Coliseum, where Middle Tennessee State leads Jax State 30-15 in our women's basketball game. Our halftime report is presented by Chick-fil-A of Jacksonville. What's better than a game day with the Gamecocks? Game day with the Gamecocks and a Chick-fil-A nugget tray. Order online today for JSU's next home game. Chick-fil-A of Jacksonville, located at 500 Pelham Road South, proud partners of Jax State Athletics. At the end of the first quarter, Middle Tennessee State had a 14-4 lead over Jax State. Middle Tennessee outscored the Gamecocks 16-11 in the second and hold a 15-point lead at the intermission. It is their biggest lead of the contest. Taking a look at the first half stats, first for Middle Tennessee, Alina Enrique has been held to 1 point and a pair of rebounds with an assist. However, Anastasia Boldareva with 9 points, 7 rebounds, in 12 minutes and 16 minutes of play. Courtney Blakely with 2 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Jalen Gregory, 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. And Tamia Scott with a game-high 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. Off the bench, Savannah Davis has 2 points. Again, Rick Insel has his starting 5, and that is who you're going to see for the majority of the contest. Middle Tennessee, 7 of 28 from the field, 2 of 12 from 3. However, 14 of 16 at the free throw line. For Jax State, Brianna Rhodes with 2 points and 2 rebounds. 7 points and a rebound for Maria Sanchez Ponce to lead Jax State. Asia Barclay with 4 points, 4 rebounds off the bench. And Kiara Thornsberry with 2 rebounds to go along with her 2 points off the bench. 4 players contributing to the 15 Jax State points. The Gamecocks were 4 of 24 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3, and 7 of 10 at the free throw line. Middle Tennessee out-rebounded Jax State just by 3, 23-20. That's an area where they've basically played even against their opponents this season, as have the Gamecocks, so that has gone true to form for both sides. Middle Tennessee with 7 offensive rebounds, leading to 11 second chance points. Jax State with 5 offensive rebounds, leading to 4 second chance points. 9 Middle Tennessee State turnovers have yielded 6 Jax State points. 13 Jax State turnovers have yielded 12 Middle Tennessee points. The field goal shooting percentages, Middle Tennessee has been held to 25% for the game. 7 of 28. They average 40% this season. The Gamecocks, however, 16% in the first quarter. They shoot 38% from the field. Defensively, it almost could not have gone better for Rick Petrie's club. However, thus far, the offense has not cooperated. 30-15 our score at the intermission in favor of the visiting Blue Raiders, who are 20 minutes away from their 33rd consecutive Conference USA victory. We will step aside for a brief timeout and come back with more of our Chick-fil-A halftime show. You're listening to Jax State Women's Basketball on the Gamecocks Sports Network.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Halftime here at the Pete Matthews Coliseum, where Middle Tennessee State has a 30-15 lead over Jax State in our women's basketball game. Our halftime report is presented by Chick-fil-A of Jacksonville. What's better than game day with the Gamecocks? Game day with the Gamecocks and a Chick-fil-A nugget tray. Order online today for JSU's next home game. Chick-fil-A of Jacksonville, located at 500 Pelham Road South, proud partners of Jax State Athletics. Middle Tennessee ended the first half on an 8-0 run to take their biggest lead of the game at 15 into the locker room. Jax State was held to 16% from the field, making just 4 field goals in the first 20 minutes of play. Let's take a look around at the Alabama Power scoreboard while we have a moment. At first, some top 25 games going on around the country. Fourth quarter in West Lafayette, and it's 25th ranked Michigan with a 74-43 lead over Purdue. A good one happening in Madison, Wisconsin, where 8th ranked Maryland has a 71-41 lead over Wisconsin with 8:47 left in the third. 17th ranked West Virginia with a 2-point lead at Oklahoma State with 5:10 to go in the second quarter. Just underway, Utah leading Houston 5-3. And again, good one coming up later on this afternoon when Georgetown hosts 7th ranked UConn. Elsewhere in Conference USA, in the fourth quarter with 5:10 to go, Liberty has a 63-51 lead over Louisiana Tech. Both those teams trying to move to 3-1 in Conference USA play. Finals from earlier. It's Western Kentucky improving to 2-2 in Conference USA play thanks to sweeping this trip. They are a 72-62 winner over Kennesaw State earlier today. And Florida International is now 3-1 in Conference USA play with a 61-41 win over Sam Houston in Miami. Again, that is the Alabama Power scoreboard. We'll step aside for our final timeout. When we come back, we'll have the start of the third quarter between Jax State and Middle Tennessee State in our women's basketball game. Middle Tennessee with a 15-point lead at the intermission, 30-15. You're listening to Jax State women's basketball on the Gamecocks Sports Network.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you. I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Ready to start the third quarter between Jax State and Middle Tennessee State in our women's basketball game. Glad to have you along here at the Pete Matthews Coliseum. My name is Donnie Smith. On the court for Middle Tennessee, they will go with their starting five of Courtney Blakely, Anastasia Boldareva, Jalen Gregory, Tamia Scott, and Elena Enrique. Countering for Jax State will be Shaquise May, Samaya Steele, Brianna Rhodes, Maya Barnes, and Maria Sanchez Ponce. It is Jax State ball to start the third quarter, and a quick three right from the get-go by Maya Barnes. First three-pointer made in 8 attempts by Jax State. That cuts the deficit to 12. Now Middle Tennessee has the ball for the first time in the second half. Boldareva doubled. They try and go back to Enrique. Back into Boldareva. Her layup is short. Rebound pulled down by Brianna Rhodes, who's playing with 3 fouls. Some quick momentum here from the Gamecocks to start the third quarter. Samaya Steele against Courtney Blakely. Rolls it cross court. Pull-up jumper on the way. Hard off the back of the rim by Rhodes. Defensive rebound tracked down by Jalen Gregory of Middle Tennessee. 9:12 remaining in the third quarter. Ball on the left wing for Tamia Scott. Scott through the lane. Layup off side iron. Rebound collected on the offensive glass by Alina Arike of Middle Tennessee. Courtney Blakely into the lane, and a bump foul called against Samaya Steele. Samaya Steele picks up her first, team's 13th, only the first here in the third quarter. At the free throw line is Courtney Blakely. These are her first free throw attempts of the game, and she calmly converts the first, looking every bit of the part of a 77.6% free throw shooter this season. Middle Tennessee is 15 of 17, make it 16 of 18. One stat that the late, great Bobby Knight always talked about would be the free throw attempts. If you can attempt twice as many free throws as your opponent can make, then you are in a really good position to win. Middle Tennessee has attempted 18 free throws. Jax State has missed 7. They are well and above that mark as Boldareva gets a swat against Maya Barnes, who is trying to pivot her way through the lane. Boldareva with a couple of blocks. She averages 2.6 per game. No surprise, she's the reigning Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year. 8:35 to play and 9 to shoot as the basketball is inbounded to Maria Sanchez Ponce. Comes off the screen, trying to shake free of Jalen Gregory. 2 seconds and 1. Off balance, circus hook shot finds its way in. 8:22 remaining in the quarter. Maria Sanchez Ponce with the team best 9 points in the contest. Cuts it back to 12. Tamia Scott from the left wing rolls it near side for Courtney Blakely. Matched up against Samaya Steele. Blakely on the dribble, feeds a wide open Elena Enrique, and she knocks down the triple. Big answer there from the Blue Raiders. Enrique with 4 in the game. That's her first field goal of the contest. Samaya Steele sets the Jax State offense with 7 3/4 left in the third. The team down by 15, matching their biggest deficit of the game. Turnaround jumper in the lane by Rhodes is good. Brianna Rhodes with 4. And the Gamecocks within 13. Courtney Blakely setting the offense. See if Jax State can continue to play well at the defensive end of the court. They've held the Blue Raiders in check shooting-wise. However, they've made up for it with the free throws. Back to the top of the key. Blakely on the drive, pulls up from the Conference USA logo. Her jumper won't go. Rebound pulled down by Brianna Rhodes. Again, Rick Petrie in the half-court defense has basically got Middle Tennessee exactly where he wants them if they can cut out the fouls and start to get the offense going. Three-pointer is airballed by May. Rebound easily scooped up by Enrique of Middle Tennessee State. In the half court is Blakely. Taking the air out of the ball a little bit as she rotates to the right side, back to the top of the key. Enrique dribbles once, gets to the elbow, kicks back out to Blakely. 10 to shoot. Blakely back to Enrique. She thought about the 25-footer, now tries to drive, works her way into the lane, draws the contact, and is headed to the free throw line. That foul coming up against Maya Barnes will be her third. To the free throw line is Alina Enrique. This season is 85.7%. Today is 1 out of 2. Maya Barnes to the bench. Into the game is Valentina Saric for Jax State. The Blue Raiders are now 17 of 19 at the free throw line, and one more coming up for the fifth-year senior from Helsinki, Finland. Off the left hand and cleanly through the net. The Blue Raiders are 90% at the free throw line. They have attempted twice as many free throws as Jax State, as the ball is tied up near midcourt. Turnover for the Gamecocks. Possession arrow to Middle Tennessee State. Blue Raiders from left to right in the all-black uniforms with the royal blue trim around each side. 6:15 to play in the third. Middle Tennessee trying to take its biggest lead of the game with a basket. On the attack goes Courtney Blakely, and she converts. Blakely with 6. Middle Tennessee with a 17-point lead. In the half court is Samaya Steele for Jax State. Ball to the top of the key for Brianna Rhodes. Off balance free throw line. Jay is good. Rhodes with 6. 39-24 with 5 3/4 remaining in the third. Courtney Blakely sets the offense as she works to the left side. And a blocking foul called. I think they may have switched the call to an offensive foul. I think at first Brianna Rhodes was expecting that call to go against her. And that goes against Jalen Gregory. So now one of Middle Tennessee's best offensive threats heads to the bench. No, she stays in the game with 3 fouls, showing you just how little Rick Insell subs, as he's going to let one of his seniors play with 3 fouls here in the third. Gamecocks able to break the press nicely with a pass on the far sideline. Sanchez Ponce, head fake, and out of position was Scott as she draws the foul as Ponce puts the ball on the deck. Scott called for her second, team second of the third quarter. Sideline inbounds from our side of the court, which is opposite the Jax State bench. Maria Sanchez Ponce to inbound. Cross courts it to Brianna Rhodes. Rhodes attacks the rim. Right-handed layup bounced off the front of the rim. No. Rebound collected by Middle Tennessee State, Elena Enrique. Coast to coast goes Blakely, and she lays it in. Again, that was an area that Rick Petrie wanted to limit the transition baskets because, again, in the half court, Jax State, outside of the fouls, has been so good. Now it's Kiara Thornsberry from the right side of the court. No look pass to the near corner. Finds Rhodes. Her pull-up 17-footer. No. Valentina Saric, the offensive board. Her left-handed layup is good. Valentina Saric's first basket of the game. Cuts the deficit back to 15. 41-26 with 4:35 remaining in the quarter. Next stoppage of play will create immediate timeout. Tamia Scott through the lane. Left-handed layup, no. Offensive rebound, put back, no, by Boldareva. And then Saric comes away with it for Jax State. Hands off to Kiara Thornsberry, who turned in some good minutes off the bench in the first half. Thornsberry to Saric. Valentina from the left wing. Valentina pivots, goes back to Rhodes. She's got the hot hand. That one goes off side iron. Rebound deflected by Sample and into the hands of Jalen Gregory of Middle Tennessee State. Courtney Blakely circles. Backs out on the wing with 3:55 remaining in the third quarter. Her team leading 41-26 here at the Pete Matthews Coliseum. Blakely rolls it in. Boldareva turnaround Jay finds its way home. Boldareva into double figures with 11. 3:37 remaining in the third. 17-point lead for Middle Tennessee State. Matches their biggest of the game. Kiara Thornsberry trying to back down Blakely. Thornsberry to the rim, lays it in. Kiara Thornsberry with 4. Got it back down to 15. Jax State looking for a stop here in the half court. Scott to a wide open Enrique. Her left wing triple is good. Enrique with 9. That's her second 3 of the game. Stretches it out to a 16-point lead, their biggest of the game. Kiara Thornsberry trying to back down the defender. Swatted by Boldareva. That's her third block of the game. Blakely ahead to Graham. Couldn't get it to go. Jalen Gregory's layup didn't connect. And Eden Sample comes away with the loose ball for Jax State. Probably would have forced a Rick Petrie timeout if that had gone home. Now in the paint. Brianna Rhodes, her turnaround jumper won't go, and another rebound for Anastasia Boldareva. That gives her the double-double. 2:17 to go. Still due a pair of media timeouts here in the third quarter. From the left wing, it's Tamia Scott. Scott trying to drive the lane through the defense. The layup, no. Boldareva's putback is good. Anastasia Boldareva with 13 and 10. Rick Petrie will take a 30-second timeout, which will become a media timeout. 2:04 remaining in the third. It's a 20-point lead for Middle Tennessee State.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
2:04 to play in the third quarter here at the Pete Matthews Coliseum. Middle Tennessee State has taken a 20-point lead at 48-28. For Middle Tennessee, this game has gone a little similar to the way the one on Thursday did. Got off to a little bit of a sluggish start offensively, going just 2 of 17 in the second quarter at Kennesaw State. They bounced back by making 8 of their next 12 shots in the third, and then went 8 of 16 in the fourth. They have made 6 of 14 here in the third of this contest because they've needed to, because Jax State off to a solid start in this third offensively. But, however, they've made a little bit of a change. As well as they played defensively to start the game, that effort has now shifted to the offensive end. And Middle Tennessee has found things a little bit easier on the offensive end. But Jax State has started 6 of 14 here in the third quarter after making just 4 shots from the field in the first half. Those are some of the Amherst numbers of the game. Inside of 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, Kiera Thornsberry tied up in the half court. She's able to force a pass to the near side to Eden Sample. Sample pivots, looks for some help, finds Thornsberry with 10 to shoot and 1:45 to play. Thornsberry matched up against Tamia Scott. Thornsberry with 5 to the near side to Asia Barclay. 2 seconds. Sarge from near midcourt couldn't get the triple to go. Tamia Scott the rebound from Middle Tennessee. Now Courtney Blakely to the top of the key. Blakely trying to extend her team's 20-point advantage as she hands off to Tamia Scott. Blakely back from the right wing, now inside to Anastasia Boldareva, who hits an easy turnaround jumper. She has 15 and 11 to lead everybody. Final minute of the third quarter coming up as Kiera Thornsberry brings it across, matched up against Blakely, the former Indiana All-Star out of Bishop Noel Institute in Hammond, Indiana. Asia Barclay from 19. Her jumper falls short. Rebound scooped up by Anastasia Boldareva, her 12th of the game. Blakely standing on the Gamecock logo in the half court. Out to the right side of Tamia Scott. Looks right, drives left, flips it inside. Boldareva makes it look easy. Boldareva with 17. 32 seconds remaining in the quarter. 4-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Ball out of bounds on turnover at number 15. It will go out of bounds to Middle Tennessee State. That will give us a media timeout with 28 seconds remaining in the third quarter. We're back with the conclusion of the period right after this on the Gamecock Sports Network.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Final 28 seconds of the third quarter. Middle Tennessee State has a 52-28 lead over Jax State in our women's basketball game. We will hold for one shot, and we will have the end of the quarter. Courtney Blakely near midcourt for Middle Tennessee State. Down to 10 seconds. Blakely starting to approach the arc where Elsie Harris stands. Now accelerates towards the rim. Jump shot banked in with 4 seconds left. And Middle Tennessee State will have a 54-28 lead to start the fourth quarter. So Middle Tennessee outscores Jax State 24-13 in the third quarter. They end the period on a 13-2 run, and they take their biggest lead of the game into the final 10 minutes. We're back with the fourth here on the Gamecock Sports Network.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you. I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Start of the fourth quarter, Middle Tennessee State with a 54-28 lead over Jax State. Math was never a strong suit of mine. We've played 3 quarters of 10 minutes each, and there are 2 players on the Middle Tennessee stat sheet with 30 minutes played, meaning they have not left the game, Jalen Gregory and Tamia Scott. And talking with head coach Rick Petrie before the game, that is not completely unexpected. Jalen Gregory, 36 minutes per game, plays the 17th most of anybody in the country. And another thing that Coach Petrie felt is the more they play, the stronger they get because they are used to it. Playing 30-some-odd minutes in a contest, not completely foreign to this group. As the pass comes in, it is Jax State basketball to start the fourth quarter with Middle Tennessee holding a 54-28 advantage. The 26-point lead is the biggest of the game for Middle Tennessee. And they ended that quarter on a 13-2 run as Barclay is tied up underneath the basket. The fadeaway jumper trying to arc it over Anastasia Boldareva unsuccessfully. And it's a defensive board pulled down by the Blue Raiders. In the half court, it's Tamia Scott. She has not left the game. Courtney Blakely inside to Boldareva. Bank. Boldareva with 19 and 12. Boldareva averages 14 and 9 per game. She has met her quota of 3 blocks per contest. No surprise, she was a first-team All-Conference USA selection and the 2024 Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to go on a limb and say she will be the Conference USA Player of the Week because 2 days ago, she had 26 and 8 at Kennesaw State. Back the other way, the layup by Blakely doesn't go, but she's headed to the free throw line. A minute gone here in the fourth quarter, excuse me. Maya Barnes picks up her 4th. Asia Barclay to the bench. Back into the game is Brianna Rhodes, who has 6 points and 4 rebounds. At the free throw line, Courtney Blakely. Blakely today, 10 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, and missed a free throw. That is just the 3rd missed free throw in 21 attempts by Middle Tennessee. Blakely, good on the 2nd. So the player who started her career at Middle Tennessee, spent last year at Arizona, and has returned to conclude it with 11. All court pressure applied in a 29-point contest. Ball comes to the near side for Elsie Harris in the half court. Harris's layup is too strong. Guess who got the rebound? 6'7" Boldareva, her 13th of the game. On the left side, Arike travels. Turnover number 12 in the game for Middle Tennessee State. That is just the 2nd turnover this half by the Blue Raiders after struggling against the Gamecock defense in the first half. Sanchez Ponce on the left side for JSU. 17 to shoot. Pull-up jumper from the left baseline by Brianna Rhodes will send her to the free throw line as Boldareva is called for her 3rd. Correction, that is her 4th personal foul. So Boldareva is sent to the bench. Back into the contest is Jada Granum. Granum with 4 minutes off the bench for Rick Insel's club. So Brianna Rhodes to the charity stripe. Deep knee bend off the left hand and knocks it down. A little unconventional approach by Rhodes, basically shooting these free throws from the right elbow. That was an adjustment that she made last season, and her free throw percentage has jumped in doing it. She's now upwards of 72% at the line this year with a pair of makes there. Rhodes with 8, right behind Sanchez Ponce on the team lead today. 57-30 in favor of Middle Tennessee. They have the basketball in the half court with 8:07 remaining in the game. Long three by Gregory is good. Oh, that was Steph Curry range. Gregory with 8. Her second triple of the contest. She's 3 away from becoming the program's all-time leader. Setting the offense is Elsie Harris for Jax State. Harris from the left elbow. Harris finds Sanchez Ponce. Runs into traffic, forced the shot off the rim. The putback by Rhodes won't go. Rebound out of bounds to the Blue Raiders. 60-30, Middle Tennessee with the lead and the basketball. So Middle Tennessee now just 7.5 minutes away from their 33rd consecutive Conference USA victory. That's a streak that dates back. The last team to beat Middle Tennessee State is not in Conference USA anymore. Enrique from the left wing can't get the triple to go. Rhodes tracks down the 3. That used to be a really impressive statement up until recently when just about everybody has moved conferences. Shaquise May at the top of the key looks to Elsie Harris. Harris from the right wing off the screen by Rhodes. Harris for 3, too strong off the glass. Jalen with the rebound. Gregory pushing it ahead out to the left wing for Courtney Blakely. Tamia Scott for 3. That doesn't connect. Offensive rebound by Jada Granum. Granum's putback won't go. Sanchez Ponce rolls it ahead to Elsie Harris. Harris in a 2-on-3 break. Forces the ball into the right corner for Shaquise May. Rise and fire triple is blocked by Tamia Scott. Middle Tennessee with the defensive rebound. Jalen Graham backs out on the right wing. Gregory to the top of the key for Courtney Blakely. UTSA was the last team to beat Middle Tennessee State in a Conference USA game. That came on February the 4th, 2023. From the right wing, it's Courtney Blakely. Catch and release triple is too strong. Rebound tracked down by Brianna Rhodes of Jax State. 7th rebound of the game for Brianna Rhodes. 6:04 to play. Harris to the near corner. Rhodes for 3. Airballed into the hands of Tamia Scott. Correction, that was Maya Barnes from the near corner. Blakely in the half court with 5:50 to go. Ball to the left side for Tamia Scott. Now to Courtney Blakely. Off the screen by Granum. Now they get it to Jalen Gregory. Head fake, puts the ball on the deck with 3. Gregory lost the handle on it, scooped up by Maria Sanchez Ponce. 2-on-2 break. Sanchez Ponce against Gregory. She traveled. Substitution for Middle Tennessee. Savannah Davis returns to the lineup, replacing Jada Granum. And into the Jax State lineup is Eden Sample. Middle Tennessee ball with Courtney Blakely setting the offense. Looks to the top of the key for Tamia Scott. Scott trying to drive against Rhodes and draws the foul. That's 4 against Rhodes, and Asia Barclay right back into the game to replace Rhodes. Pair of free throws coming up for Tamia Scott. She has scored 6 of her 13 points at the charity stripe. She's a rebound away from a double-double. 7 of 7 at the free throw line today for Tamia Scott as she converts the old-fashioned three-point play. 63-30 our score in favor of Middle Tennessee State. They've scored the last 6 points of the contest. Jax State hasn't scored in the last 3 minutes and 8 seconds, and they turn it over. Elsie Harris to the bench. Returning to the lineup is Samaya Steele. Jax State has surrendered 17 turnovers, which have led to 19 Middle Tennessee State points. Ball to the near side for Courtney Blakely. Jabs left, now tries to dribble right, now tries to dribble left, into the lane, layup won't go. Offensive putback by Enrique won't go. Elena got her own rebound and was fouled. Infraction was called against Samaya Steele. That was her second. And we go to the media timeout with Middle Tennessee leading 63-30 with 4:45 to play in tonight's ball game. We're back after this brief timeout here on the Gamecocks Sports Network.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
4:45 to play in the fourth quarter. And Middle Tennessee State has a 63-30 lead over Jax State in our women's basketball contest. Coming up next for the Gamecocks, they will hit the road for back-to-back games as they make the road trip next week at La Tech Thursday, at Sam Houston on Saturday. Men's basketball coming to the Pete Matthews Coliseum next week after Jax State ends a 3-game road trip. They will have back-to-back home contests against La Tech and Sam Houston. For Middle Tennessee State, they will head to Western Kentucky next week on Saturday, so a bye on Thursday. And then they will play host to Sam Houston and La Tech before traveling to New Mexico State to close out the month of January. Trying to win their 4th consecutive game. They're 4 minutes and 45 seconds away from doing so. And again, their 33rd consecutive victory in Conference USA play. Inbound pass comes into the left side for Jalen Gregory as the Blue Raiders have the ball in the half court with Tamia Scott at the top of the key. Scott at the free throw line looks to the wing for Blakely. 8 to shoot. Blakely crossover dribble to get to the free throw line with 5. To the right elbow, off-balance jumper forced up with 3. No, Maria Sanchez-Ponce, the defensive board. Middle Tennessee trying to use every second of the shot clock they can. Samaya Steele matched up against Blakely in the half court for Jax State. Looking inside, here's Barnes trying to go to work. Pass deflected out of bounds, and it goes back to the Blue Raiders. That is turnover number 18 for Jax State. Into the Middle Tennessee State lineup is Jada Harrison, number 23, a redshirt freshman from Martin, Tennessee. Harrison played a few minutes earlier in the first half. This is her 12th appearance of the season, was a 4-star recruit by ESPN, and was the Class 2A Miss Basketball in 2023. Some impressive resumes on this roster for Middle Tennessee that Rick Insel's able to put together. Here's Tamia Scott driving the lane against Barclay, lays it up and in. Scott with 16 in the game. Samaya Steele sets the Jax State offense with 3:33 remaining in the fourth. Barclay trying to go to work, gives up the dribble, pivots, kicks. Sanchez Ponce tries to drive the lane, bounces off of Bouldereva. Fadeaway jumper won't go. Rebound is tied up. Possession arrow to Middle Tennessee State. 35-point game with 3:22 left. To the average fan who has not seen anything from Middle Tennessee State, you'd be surprised that Jalen Gregory, the second leading scorer, is still on the floor. Might try and give her some rest before making the long bus ride home as the shot swatted at the other end by Maya Barnes. That's just the Middle Tennessee State modus operandi. Their top 5 play as many minutes as possible. Here's Barnes for 3 at the other end. It doesn't go. And the basketball goes out of bounds back to Jax State. Inbounding is Samaya Steele with 20 on the shot clock. Big difference in today's game. Middle Tennessee State has gotten to the free throw line 23 times, and they have made 20. And then we have a foul during the inbound. So Jalen Gregory has picked up her 4th and stays in the game. Inbound pass comes in to Eden Sample in the right corner with 2:50 to play in the 4th. Barclay drives baseline reverse layup. That one's swatted by Bouldereva. Up with it is Tamia Scott of Middle Tennessee State. And now Jada Harrison to run the point for the Blue Raiders. Scott elects not to use the screen. Steps back on the wing with 19 to shoot. Jalen Gregory against Sanchez Ponce. Nice pick and roll, but it's well defended by Samaya Steele as she's able to draw it away from Bouldereva. Cross-court pass to the near side. Catch and release 3. Sanchez Ponce for 3. She has 12 to lead the Gamecocks. 65-33 in favor of Middle Tennessee State. Down to our final 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Jada Harrison from the wing. Harrison, pick and roll, looking inside. Bouldereva like clockwork, off the glass and in. Bouldereva with 21 and 13. 67-33, 150 to play. Samaya Steele running the offense. Steele looks to the near side for Asia Barclay. Now to the top of the key for Maya Barnes. Barnes back to Barclay. Her 17-footer draws nothing but the bottom of the net. Barclay with 6. Gamecocks trying to build some momentum here at the end of this contest. Tamia Scott from the left wing. Scott cross-courts it to Jada Harrison. Inside Bouldereva, rare miss here in the second half for her. Samaya Steele comes back the other way for Jax State. 70 seconds remaining in the contest. Middle Tennessee will move to 12-5, 4-0 in Conference USA play. Jax State will drop their second in a row, 7-7 on the year, 1-2 in Conference USA. That ball well off the mark by Barnes for 3, and it goes out of bounds to the Blue Raiders. .54 4/10 remain. Blue Raiders from left to right to run out the final moments of the contest. Tamia Scott from the wing. Scott cross-courts it to Jada Harrison. Has the screen from Bouldereva. They did not go with the pick and roll. They went to Scott on the left wing instead with 13, trying to run some more clock. Scott on the drive. Layup finds its way home. Tamia Scott with 18. 3 in double figures today for Middle Tennessee State. Blakely with 11, Scott with 18, and Bouldereva with an All-American game of 21 and 13. Again, Rick Petrie in the pregame show called her a WNBA draft pick. More impressive than being an NBA draft pick. There's 30-some teams in the NBA. There's 13 in the WNBA and still just 2 rounds. 7 seconds remain. Middle Tennessee with the ball in the backcourt. They get the ball across midcourt, and that will do it. Jax State falls to 7-7 on the season. Middle Tennessee State at 12-5 with a 69-35 win here at the Pete Matthews Coliseum. The second half really where Middle Tennessee State able to run away and hide as they outscored the Gamecocks 39-20 in the second half. And the shooting woes continue for Jax State. They shoot 22% from the field for this contest, 13% from 3. And we're 9 of 12 at the free throw line. Coach Rick Petrie will join us here on the postgame show. Coach, again, the first half defense in the half court, you had to be pretty pleased with what you saw, the way you were able to kind of limit Middle Tennessee's touches there in the first half.
Yeah, we just can't score. Our team can't score. And so I don't know if that's going to get solved between now and the next game or not. But, we defended well enough in the first half to the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was 22-15, and we committed 3 straight fouls and sent them to the free throw line, and they made the plays, and so that's why we go down 30-15. In the second half, we came out with a little bit of energy at the start, but they're just a lot better than we are, and they are just so much tougher than we are, so much more grit than we have, and I just I have not. I've done a terrible job of instilling toughness in this team because our team's just not tough enough.
Obviously, the focus on the offensive end going into next week's contest, you guys hit the road. Anything specific you guys are going to work on?
Well, there's not a whole lot we do well right now. So we don't handle pressure well, Now, one thing I will say, and they got 6-7 at the basket, so there's times when against other teams we might have been able to finish a couple of plays that we weren't able to because they got 6-7 standing there. And she affects a couple of things. She affects not only the actual shot that's taken, but she also affects people's perspective about, do I even want to drive it in there? And that allows them to be really aggressive on the defensive end. They can really get into you and extend because they know that behind them is 6-7 waiting. And look, like I said, they're just a whole lot better than we are. And so, we'll just all we can do is prepare for the next team. We'll look at what they do. We'll try to find a plan to fight it, and attack it. And that's all we can do. We'll just move on to the next one and see what we can do.
All right, thanks for the time, Coach.
Thank you.
Rick Petrie joining us here on the Gamecock Locker Room Show, brought to you by State Farm agent Mike Douglas, providing insurance and financial services. He has 2 office locations in Jacksonville and Piedmont to better serve your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. We'll run down the final stats for you as Middle Tennessee State comes away with a 69-35 win over Jax State. Middle Tennessee now 12-5 this season, 4-0 in Conference USA play. They have won 33 in a row in the conference. Elena Enrique, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Anastasia Boldareva, 21 points, 13 rebounds to lead everybody. Courtney Blakely, 11 points, 3 rebounds, and a team best 7 assists. Jalen Gregory, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Tamia Scott, 18 points and 11 rebounds to go along with 3 assists. Just 2 points coming from the reserves off the hands of Savannah Davis. Middle Tennessee State, 22 of 58 from the field, 5 of 18 from 3, 20 of 23 at the free throw line. Said that was going to be one of the keys in the pregame show, and it certainly was. The Jax State stats, Brianna Rhodes with 8 points and 7 rebounds. Maya Barnes, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Maria Sanchez Ponce leads the way offensively with 12 points and 2 rebounds. 2 points off the bench to go along with 3 rebounds for Valentina Saric. 6 points for Asia Barclay with 5 rebounds off the bench. And Kiera Thornsberry with 4 points and 2 rebounds. Jax State 12 of 55 from the field, 2 of 16 from 3, and just 9 of 12 at the free throw line. They were out-rebounded 47-34. Jax State committed 18 turnovers, resulting in 21 points. They forced 13 turnovers and got 11 points off of them. Big advantage in the paint by Middle Tennessee State, thanks to 6'7" Anastasia Boldareva. They outscored Jax State 32-12 in the lane. That will do it for our coverage of Jax State women's basketball today. The Gamecocks on the road next week at La Tech and Sam Houston on Thursday and Saturday, respectively. For Middle Tennessee State, they will travel to Western Kentucky a week from today. We thank you for joining us once again. It's Middle Tennessee State with a 69-35 win over Jax State. For all of us on the Gamecocks Sports Network, my name is Donnie Smith. We appreciate you joining us. Have a great night.